a really hard pill to take when somebody says that satellites could be fake. But don't you find it a little suspicious that you can't find any real satellite pictures? It might be hard to be believed, but maybe we're all being deceived. Yeah, maybe, huh? What's up? Well, if you think you've seen one up in the sky, you can't see it with the naked eye, because a satellite is about the size of a car, at least 300 miles away. You can't see that far. Whatever those dots are that move in the night, I'm telling you there ain't no satellite. Welcome to the satellite hoax, just another one of them NASA jokes. You can't buy me a picture of a satellite without bringing up a bunch of that CGI. Just a bunch of cartoons all over the place when I search satellites in space. Yeah, type that phrase into Google, folks. Let me welcome you to the satellite hoax. Now before all of y'all start getting pissed, I ain't saying that satellites don't exist. I'm saying that it's theoretically absurd to think these devices orbit the Earth, 'cause I've seen them hanging from big balloons. Even Google's doing it too now, man. Have you seen that? Yeah, go check out Project Moon. And every now and then a satellite crashes, but that information never gets to the masses, 'cause then you'll find out how these things really work. They're just on balloons, man. They don't orbit the Earth. 'Cause once upon a time, one crashed in Brazil with the balloon attached to its steel. Welcome to the satellite hoax, just another one of them NASA jokes. You can't buy me a picture of a satellite without bringing up a bunch of that CGI. Just a bunch of cartoons all over the place when I search satellites in space. Yeah, type that phrase into Google, folks. Let me welcome you to the satellite hoax. Yeah, check it out, man. How can satellites be in the thermosphere when the temperature up there is way too severe? How can that type of equipment survive? How comes those satellites aren't burned alive? I'm telling you, man, it's just a pack of lies. There ain't no orbiting satellites, because 99% of our communication comes from undersea cables and cell tower stations. A GPS is ground-based too, man. Go check out a system called LORAN. It's a military system for navigation that uses ground towers to track your location. Are you seeing it yet? Welcome to the satellite hoax, just another one of them NASA jokes. You can't buy me a picture of a satellite without bringing up a bunch of that CGI. Just a bunch of cartoons all over the place when I search satellites in space. Yeah, type that phrase into Google, folks. Let me welcome you to the satellite hoax. You see, Tesla figured out how to communicate without the need for satellites in space. It's mostly ground-based towers, you see, and that's how you get your satellite TV. They've monetized what Tesla made for free with their fake satellite industry. It was Arthur C. Clarke that theorized these things, the sci-fi boxes with solar wings. Another Freemason, it's no surprise. They make science fiction and they monetize. They've stolen Tesla's technology and they get you to pay for your TV. Are you seeing it now, people? Welcome to the satellite hoax, just another one of them NASA jokes. You can't buy me a picture of a satellite without bringing up a bunch of that CGI. Just a bunch of cartoons all over the place when I search satellites in space. Yeah, go type it into Google right now, and let me welcome you to the satellite hoax. So next time you see a photo of the Earth from space, look for satellites. You won't find a trace. Oh, they must have disappeared, I guess. Can't even see any from the ISS. If you yourself a little enjoyment, go watch a NASA satellite deployment. Oh man, but let me welcome you to the satellite hoax.
I'm sure, so we can boil this down, we're both aiming down for the daznez. Your argument is from, what's the chance of yourself? If you were to start working now, well, I am looking late. I work, I go to work every day, you know, my takes my trip. So your work what company? What I'm trying to do is try and think of the right angle. What we're saying is that these people that have hurt themselves from
what everybody believes to be photographs. Nasty photographs and nasty photographs. Does it look funny to you? Have a look at them on the National website, you know. They're all supposed to be photographs, that's just for photographs to Photoshop, which is everything too by that. You haven't got photographs all the way up. People are pinning all the beliefs in the photographs. I've got some
So what about when you're looking in the sky and you see all the stars moving around? How does that work? Right, well...
Have you seen the stars? Yeah. Have you actually seen them up close, actually zoomed in?
Not like that, but I have done the whole slow frame.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. These are actually photographs of the stars. You don't see that in the P900. These are photographs that were all taken.
I mean, you can get P900.
If you actually watch videos of them, they're just constantly moving about, you know. We're talking about colonising Mars. If you actually see that, it's not a fun body. It's all bullshit. Everything seems to be bullshit.
The cameras are getting that good now. You don't need to listen to NASA.
We're looking a bit baggy, man. Drops and all, don't I? I want to get some of them out quick and just one of them. Yeah. There we go. Looking surprised.
Hang on, yeah, alright. Are you going back tonight, Scot? Yeah. Hello, I know, yeah.
Come on, it's a load of nonsense all this, but you've got to take a leaflet. I'm saying you got to, you don't have to. Grab one of them. And there's a card there, do you want to grab the card?
Say on it.
It's literally just a web address and something, the same what's written there.
I want more information.
Well, on that site, it's tons, oh, let me give you a better leaflet. Oh, there's a guy over there, is he? Oh, he's down there. Have you heard about all this before?
No.
Really? It's the biggest thing on the internet right now.
What is it? What's the name of it?
No, I mean, basically, we're trying to prove to the world that we've all been indoctrinated, and everything that we know about our planet is just a bunch of beliefs. We've got no evidence whatsoever. Lie, believe, lie. I mean, what evidence do you think that you guys have got that the Earth is round?
I knew that fairies exist.
But you see what I'm saying? That's the way we've kind of been brought up. These are NASA pictures. Can you see what's wrong with them?
What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them?
Look at the size of that.
Right.
Look at the size of that.
Wait, what are you talking about?
America, continents. These are NASA's pictures, and the continents are, yeah, look, you can see it a bit more clearer there. There's 2012, there's 2013. These are downloaded from NASA's site. They keep changing their mind on what Earth looks like. We have never had a photograph from space of Earth. Oh, seriously, NASA says that all these pictures are composites. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, where the join all together, pictures together.
Yeah. And it says so quite clearly on NASA's website. They're all composites. We've never received a picture. This chap here, he works for NASA. He actually makes the globe. He actually photoshops it and puts it all together. Before Photoshop, they used to paint the globe. There's never ever been a negative, you know, like you've never heard about it or seen it. All the telemetry data for the Apollo missions, they've all gone missing.
Oh, what is your purpose?
To get you guys to critically think, to go home and say, look, everything I know about the Earth is a belief. You know, because if you think about it, when they're flying along planes and they start going over the curvature of the Earth, then the aeroplane's got to dip every time it goes over, but they don't do that. They've got what's called an artificial horizon. They fly to the artificial horizon, and once they level out all the way to Australia.
Because gravity pulls them to the earth.
But what's that got to do with the elevators on the aeroplane? It's the elevators that trim the aeroplane to make it go over the curvature, and they don't access them. They don't use them at all. They fly level for the whole 24 hours of going to Australia. We don't know. We're not going to put any. I mean, there is lots of models what they say, but we don't know. We know it's not a ball. How could water go around the curvature of the Earth? You just said gravity just a minute ago, but that's only because. Did you know it's called the theory of gravity, and it's never been proven? To this day, they still haven't proved it.
Well, something's going on. Gravity's just the word that Isaac Newton put on it.
It's density and buoyancy. That's all it is. The molecule. It's like if it was gravity. Well, if it was gravity, wouldn't gravity pull balloons down?
Well, isn't there with helium, don't they, which is lighter than.
So, and gravity selectful to helium, is it?
Yeah.
It's selectful.
No, it's not selective, but it pulls it at a lower. It goes at a higher rate than, say, a balloon filled with hydrogen.
They can't even explain it to you what gravity is. Sir Isaac Newton can tell you how to observe gravity, what they think, but they don't. And between him and Einstein thinks gravity is the bending of time and space. Lights are just for your phones and all that. Were your cell towers?
Yeah.
GPS is on cell towers. GPS use Aron.
Yeah.
There is no satellites. If you think about it, I'll show you here. If you think about it, satellites, can they exist in space? The thermosphere is, which you can't really read that well, it's between 2,000 and 2,500 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, so it's just burn up.
So, well, aluminium melts at 660 degrees. Titanium melts at 1670. How could they put this? These are made up figures and that. You go on to Google and Wikipedia and they'll give you these figures, they'll quote them to you.
Yeah.
You know, you ask them the right questions. So satellites, they are, I'd say GPS is Aron. It's called enhanced Lauren now. And that's all it is, GPS, and the same with mobile phones. You ask, I don't know, 9 out of 10 people would probably say mobile phones go straight up to the satellites. They really don't, they just go to the nearest cell tower. I can pull my phone out and you can put an app on your phone, you can just find out where your cell tower is. And it'll just point to the one that's local. Satellites don't exist.
During an eclipse, why is the moon's shadow smaller?
Yeah, I mean, in nature, can you make a shadow smaller than itself? So if I put my hand up on the sun, could I make a shadow smaller than my hand? Is that possible? It's not possible. Nowhere in nature is it possible can you do that. And yet when the eclipse comes, and if the moon is so big, why does it only do a 75 mile wide shadow? So it's making a shadow smaller than itself. See, we kind of think that the moon is a lot closer. We believe it's the sun and the moon is about 3,000 miles away. And if it's 3,000 miles away, we kind of think that the moon is more than likely about 30 miles wide, 35 miles wide. And therefore we get a 70 because it makes a shadow bigger than itself.
Yeah.
That's correct, that fits into our reality, what we see. But doing it the globe ball model way, it doesn't fit into our reality eclipses.
Well, I think NASA are liars, and I do think.
Well done. So you've awoken to that part.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I go with the theory of flat Earth. The only thing I don't like I said to your mate, is it's a creationist wet dream. They love it. You know what I mean? It means there's God.
Right.
I don't think we're the centre of the universe.
I think me and you might be on the same level. We might be. I'm an agnostic. I've been an agnostic for my entire life. I'm not an atheist, I'm an agnostic. Of all the things in the world that I don't know, I have to accept that I don't know whether there's a God or not. Okay, so I have to be on the fence because I don't know, you know. So I kind of think that when they started talking about this, are you what's it, a Big Bang a theory person, or are you a creationist and that, you know, like so and are we from monkeys and things, you know, like really a Big Bang and then all of a sudden out of nothing, so we could have a Big Bang just there out of nothing, and then we get all these many planets and all the solar system galaxies and all that, and it all came from, I don't know, just a bit of space there. Oh, come on. So just ridiculous.
Just the same as God let there be light.
Yeah,
it's like, give us one free miracle and we'll explain the rest.
So I find that hard myself, but I won't denounce it now because of all the things that I've now learned. I'm 47 years of age. My eyes are just starting to wake up for what's really going on and all the lies that have been happening. I have to be open-minded now to say, yeah, anything's possible now.
It is a big lie.
There is. I mean, moon landing, where'd you stand with it?
Well, I believe Kubrick filmed it, you know.
Sorry?
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, well done. It sounds plausible, all of that, you know, like, I mean, like the moon, there's no blast crater on the lunar module, there's no dust on top of the landing legs, the waving flag, you know, like, why is that waving about, and, you know.
Yeah, it's bollocks.
It is. So if that's one lie, and then we come to, I've got, did you get one of them cards? No. If you grab that one. If you go to FE Start, there's a few websites, a few video channels on that website. Yeah. One is 200 proofs. Well, when you go to that, they're starting to have glitches in the ISS. Because it's all done in green screens. They've got like 3 astronauts all stood next door to each other. And I don't know if you know anything about green screens and that, but like they're built on layers. You know, like, so they'll like green everything around you and all that, and then they can put you in China, Japan and Australia, and then all of a sudden, this only happened a couple of weeks ago, and that you see all these astronauts, the 3 of them, they just phase out, but the rest of the set was still there, and that's just happened. You can go on and check all that out. There's so many problems with the International Space Station. It's going at 17,000 miles an hour. Where can we create that speed? How did it get to that speed in the first place?
The Earth is meant to be spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. It should be.
And they say it's all due to relativity. Okay, so picture this. I live on the equator. I'm going at 1,000 miles an hour. I'm spinning around. I get on an aeroplane. I decide to go to sleep for 12 hours. I wake up in Norway, and now I'm only doing 300 miles an hour. And I kind of think, wow, this is easy. I was spinning at 1,000 miles an hour now. And if you do the vice versa, anyone from Norway going to the equator and they get off at 1,000 miles an hour, they're going to go, fucking hell, what's going on? It's 1,000 miles an hour. Yeah. People they won't critically think, or...
Just a quick one though, what do you think about the other planets? Are they...
I don't believe planets exist the way that we've been told they exist. We can see things up there, okay? I think like Saturn is probably about the closest to a planet that we can see. But if you look at amateur footage of, let's say, Venus or Mars, all you'll see is, and you can focus right in nice and clearly, you'll see these dancing lights in the sky. You do not see a planet as the way that we've been taught. These are just Photoshop painted images. We have never seen planets. That is pure lies, all of that. I believe space is something entirely different than what we've been told. And I couldn't tell you what, because I've never been. But I know what it isn't.
Yeah, true.
You know? We've
got to go now, but yeah, I know.
It's all food for thought. We're not trying to twist anyone's arm and say, like, this is what you got to believe.
It's interesting.
Food for thought. All right. Cheers, take care.
North Yorkshire, right across.
Load of rubbish, isn't it? Is it a load of rubbish? It's a difficult one. This is Robert Sims. When you got Apple, the iPhone, and they brought out and they put the Earth on the iPhone, it was him that created it. He works for NASA, and he creates the Earth. He's always created it, and there's been someone before him.
So how's the Earth? What's the shape of the Earth?
We don't know. I've never been.
Huh?
I've never been. I don't know. I've never been into space. I've never seen. I don't know. I know what it isn't.
But what about Coriolis effect?
I don't believe in that. If you get it's a load of rubbish. It really is. If you get a bowl of water, okay, a bowl, and then you get the exact same bowl, and it spins one way, and you get the exact same bowl, and if you put the water in on the southern part of the world, the same thing happens.
I know. So they twist on the same direction, because the Coriolis force generates a very, very small difference in.
And do you know snipers? They actually adjust for that. Did you know that? Snipers, they adjust for the Coriolis effect. Does that make sense? So why don't aeroplanes? Why don't aeroplanes? It's an aeroplane that's going a lot slower than a bullet, and yet snipers adjust for the Coriolis effect. But aeroplane pilots, they don't.
But doesn't it take?
It's like you can't have it both ways.
Doesn't it take, when you go from, let's say, from America continent to Europe, when you go the way backwards, so you go from America to Europe, it will take you 14 hours.
Yeah.
And you go back.
You think it would be?
Well, always airplanes overestimate the time that you can fly.
And wind resistance, they can go slower, they can go faster. Yeah, it's not what you think that.
But the Coriolis effect, I mean, there's...
Because don't forget, if the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and the aeroplane's trying to land, well, when he's landing and the Earth's moving like that, then he's got to counter with it. He's got to go with it. Aeroplanes don't fly like that.
Yeah, but going back to the Coriolis effect, the difference that it produces is so insignificant that it can't change the direction of
and yet snipers, that's exactly what I just said. So who's lying? Are all the snipers in the world, are they lying?
But the snipers, what they do, you mean when they shoot at the distance?
When they shoot over a long distance, like snipers and that, marksmen and that, well, they adjust for the Coriolis.
They adjust the wind and the distance, but because of gravity. Not Coriolis.
No, but they say Coriolis. I've seen them speaking about it. You can see many a YouTube clip, and these marksmen, these snipers and that, they actually adjust for Coriolis, which is nonsense.
Yeah, for me it's also as well, because Coriolis will make sense for a very long distance. Now, for a distance for a sniper, which is, let's say, 3,000 meters.
Okay.
For me, they take into account the wind speed, direction,
and the density and the density.
The density and the gravity.
No, the density.
Huh?
I don't believe in gravity. Because
why do
and why do balloons go up?
Huh?
Why do balloons don't fall?
Because
gravity is selectable.
The balloons with helium go up.
Okay, so we know the helium is lighter than the air, but there's still a balloon there as well. If I got an empty balloon and dropped it, the balloon's going to fall. Yeah. So what's happening there? Why is it going up?
Because the helium, when you take into account the whole volume of the balloon, the helium occupies, so the density of that balloon is lower than the air.
You know, that's our entire argument. You know, that's what you perceive as gravity. It's density.
Physics is an invention to try to understand what happens. That's mathematics is an invention that
Physics is meant to be about the physical world and to explain the physical world, but it hasn't. If you research this, all physics now is all about maths. That's what maths is now. Pseudoscience.
Maths is a vehicle to explain physics and chemistry.
Yeah.
It's language.
It's language.
Now,
with false axioms.
They're both inventions to try to understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And they are like a convention.
They are proving a reality that we don't live in. That's what they're doing. They're proving a reality.
To understand the reality that we see.
They're giving us black holes. They're giving us quasars. They're giving us lots of beliefs with no evidence whatsoever. Just hypothesis. That's all they're giving us. And we take that on as a belief and we regurgitate it back out without any scientific experimentation, none whatsoever. And then we just repeat, and we're clever at repeating. And we call this intelligence now. Educated people are basically the ones that can repeat and remember things. Yeah. But you ask them to do critical thinking and they can't, they fall flat.
But,
that's not intelligence for me.
But, okay, I agree with you, but refutating, in order to refutate some belief, or not a belief, in order to refutate someone that has like explaining something rationally, you need to not refutate it with arguments of I don't know how it is because I haven't been there.
Okay.
But probably saying how it is.
And that's fine. And then it should stay like that. It should stay there as a theory. And that, but now they've construed these theories now as facts. You know, like, I mean, they say that most of these theories are all facts, like gravity, for instance. The theory of gravity, that has never ever been proven, ever, but it's the theory of gravity. This chap here, Henry Cavendish, I don't know if you ever, if you
let me read that one, yeah.
He did this experiment, and he got these 2 lead balls, and he stood in a barn, and then he noted that these 2 lead balls came closer, 2 masses came closer.
So this is the floor. What are these balls made of?
Lead.
Lead. What's lead?
Soft metal. Soft metal.
Yeah.
Lead. Pliable. They use it for roofs, church roofs and that.
Lead.
Lead pencil. Lead. Yeah. Same thing.
Okay, so it's a metal.
It's a metal.
So he put these balls together. So
he put these together.
Yeah.
And then he goes into a barn. Into a barn.
What's a barn?
Sorry, they are in a barn where cows and sheep live and that. He goes into his kitchen, I think it is. He's on the other side of the yard. He gets his telescope and he watches them come together. Okay, and Henry Cavendish, he proves that gravity exists, that 2 masses are attracted to each other. But you can't evidence that. You can't recreate that and make it work. It doesn't work.
This line has to go down. So this is fake.
Yeah, but that's
I've
what.
I've never heard of this.
Oh, well, that's it's probably just in our country then, because he's an English guy,
yeah.
And we learned this at school.
And what's fake about what's fake in Newton's theory? Because physics today is Newton.
Oh, hang on, you say that. So, but you say this, but like there was lots of flaws with Newton's theories, and then Einstein? He come along and corrected all of that. But and now gravity is the time, or the bending of time and space.
Yeah, but nor Einstein. Neither Einstein nor Hawking refuted Newton. They confirmed. They just make it more broad, like Einstein with different speeds,
yeah,
and Hawking with different masses.
Okay. Can I just implore you to do one thing out of all of this, is do a little bit more research on bending of time and space, because it's just rubbish.
What?
It's rubbish. I mean,
is there any proof that's rubbish?
Is there any proof that it's still called the theory of relativity? It's still called the theory of gravity. Is there any proof that it's real?
No.
It's a theory.
No, but it's the best thing we have today.
Yeah.
To try to understand reality. This guy didn't claim that he understood.
You know what? The best thing that we have today. I don't go for that, because look, we had this flat Earth model. The best thing that we've got today. Do you know most flat earthers, we won't accept that as our model of what we believe in. Most flat earthers don't. And the reason being is because we haven't any proof. We've got no proof that that's the way the model works. You know, but
But then, if you start, let's go to the globe.
Yep. Globe. Which globe?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So
Well, that's
If you start flying this way and you go straight, you'll get here.
In what way?
Huh?
Oh, yeah, that's what you think, because you think that you live on a globe.
No, but that's a proven thing. I mean,
How?
Because I travel to China. Going this way.
Yeah. Going east, or going west.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. If I walk around you, I've just walked right round you.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not a globe, are you? But I just circumnavigated you.
Okay. Yeah, I see your point.
Okay.
But we need to, and then. So is this a flat Earth?
Right. We believe that we're on a flat plane, okay? Because look, when you're in an aeroplane, okay. Now you've been in an aeroplane quite a few times, okay. Do you know what the elevators are on the wing that makes the aeroplane go down? Elevators makes the aeroplane go up, makes the aeroplane go down. They're called elevators at the back. Okay. When an aeroplane, he works off a artificial horizon, you know, the little ball, the artificial horizon. Okay, he works off that. He ascends, and you can see that move on the artificial horizon, and then he levels out. And then if he was going from England to Australia, he would fly level the entire journey, and then that artificial horizon, you would see it descend when he's on final approach. Okay, so at what point did the elevators engage? Because it's meant to be dipping every mile. It would dip about 500 feet or so every mile. Why doesn't it do that? No aeroplane on the planet does that.
And why, if you're standing here, why do you see always the horizon at the side?
At the eye level. Yeah. If you're on a ball, you think about that, because you're quite. It's a good observation, that is. If you're on a ball, I'm stood up here. The horizon would the higher I go, the horizon would always drop away from you, because I'm on a ball. That is like physics now.
The ball is millions of times bigger than I am. So
then let's go higher. That's all it is. So we go higher and higher and higher, and then when aeroplanes get up higher, the ball will start to fall away. The horizon would not be at eye level, it will start to drop away as you get higher, and then when you get into space, it will really drop away.
If I'm in a big ball, inside a big ball, right? I'm inside a big ball, on the surface of a big ball, and I look at the distance, I will see that the sky is going down and the earth is plane.
Okay.
So that's why I see the horizon at the height of my eyes.
But it's good. But yeah, but that's gone down. So why do you see it at your?
Because the earth is plane.
I think you need to rethink that one. You are demonstrating and saying this the way we believe. You need to rethink what you're saying there.
Why?
As you go up, oh God! When we're
so you think
you understand?
You think the earth is plane?
Okay.
But then somehow the sky is round, because at some point, if the earth is plane, how come we always see the horizon at the same height? It's because something is closing it, right?
It's because it's flat.
Huh?
It's just because it's flat. It's plane. Because it is. We are on a plane. It's because it's flat. And you've almost got it. You're almost there.
Yeah, we are on a plane. But then, what happens with the sky?
In what way?
In the way that we are on a plane.
I mean, look. Look, I mean, like, so we see these flat horizons. Doesn't matter how high we go, we do not see any curvature of the Earth. We just see these flat horizons. Doesn't matter. And if you go on YouTube and see all these amateur balloons from universities and schools and that, you'll see flat horizons. When you see it from NASA, you'll see this huge big curve.
And what about the GoPro?
Yeah, fisheye lens.
Artificial.
It's the fisheye lens, because it's like they've got one in. They show you like in the U2 planes, them U2 planes that go up, and then you see the curvature of the Earth, but when he lands, you kind of see that the curvature is still there, you know, on the ground level. They're all GoPros fisheye lenses.
All right.
You know.
So then, you guys think that the Earth is plane?
Okay.
And how do we explain the sky? I understand that the Earth is plane. Okay.
Okay.
How do we explain the sky?
In what respect? Satellites? Space? No.
The horizon. The horizon thing.
The horizon. I think. I mean, it just goes on forever. It just goes on forever. You know, like, but we can't see forever because of atmospheric conditions and dust and fog and you know and things like that.
Night and day. And
night and day. We believe that the sun and moon are approximately around about 3,000 miles away. We don't believe that. I mean, it's 93 million miles away. Do you not see how ridiculous that is? 93 million miles away, and this is meant to be 250 odd thousand miles away. I mean, I can get my camera and zoom straight into the craters and everything, and I can barely zoom in somewhere that's like 100 miles away. It's just ridiculous. 3,000. So we believe it's localized. So it would leave a spotlight, and it wouldn't illuminate the whole area. It would just leave a spotlight as it goes round, and as it goes out, as it goes in, it will create the seasons. And as it goes out, it will create the other seasons.
How does this move?
That's called cognitive dissonance.
The Earth? So the Earth?
There it is. It's written there. Oh no, it is cognitive dissonance. No, that's okay. Right. So
the Earth doesn't rotate. Is this what's rotating?
Well, this is it. There has never been the scientific experiments was these. Oh God, where are we? Aries failure. Oh, there they are. So here, your Aries failure. You've got the Michael-Simorley, and you've got these experiments. These were kind of like to prove are the heavens spinning round, and they couldn't prove it whatsoever. There is no evidence or no proof whatsoever that the heavens spin. You know, like that we spin round the heavens. And
going back to this one, how do you? So suppose I'm here.
Okay.
Could you explain?
So if you're on the equator.
This is Africa, right?
Okay.
This is Africa?
Yes, that would be Africa.
Let's say we're here now. This is the UK.
Yep.
We're here.
Okay.
Can you explain the night and the day?
Well, yeah. I mean, like, that's day. I mean, like, and then as that goes right round, that would become night, and this would become day.
So these are the two of these are rotating in this orbit.
That's right. And as I say, and in our summer, they're a lot closer inwards. And they're rotating there, and then when we get to our winter, they start going outwards, and that's why, like Australia, that's why it's reversed.
The diameter of this rotation changes.
Yes.
They approximate to each other, and then they go.
Oh, don't forget that forget about the moon and all that. That's just because obviously that will catch the sun, and that's how we get our eclipses and that, won't it?
Yeah.
It goes faster and slower.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even like eclipses. I mean, where in nature can you observe a shadow smaller than itself? If I put my hand there in the sun, could I make a shadow smaller than my hand? No. Is there any other experiment that I could make a shadow smaller than? No. And yet, why does the moon do that? See, we believe the moon is not.
Much smaller than
we believe it's about 35 miles wide or so, and that's why it gives a 75 mile wide shadow.
Yeah.
That's what we believe.
So this is how many times is the moon smaller than the sun?
They are the same size.
They are the same size?
They are the same size.
But according to science?
Oh God, it's about 800 times.
800 times?
Yeah, something like that.
The sun is 800 times bigger.
800 times bigger, okay, and 93 million miles away, and yet in our reality we observe them to be the same size. That's a coincidence, that is. You know, and that doesn't sit right.
Do you know what? With distance,
well,
right?
do you know what parallax is?
With?
Parallax, do you know what that means? Okay, parallax would be, let's say that, you know, like, and you could see, yeah, so that would be parallax, okay? Right, so we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, okay? 1,000 miles an hour. We're traveling around the sun, okay, right the way around the sun, 67,000 miles an hour. Our sun is hurtling us and dragging us with us at 500,000 miles an hour. okay, 500,000 miles. So we're doing them 3 different rotations and that, okay. Right above us, we have the North Star Polaris, okay. That's been above us since astronomy began. Even the pyramids of Giza, they've got their stars perfectly aligned since astronomy begun. Even when we're going round on our 12-month yearly cycle to go around the sun to make a year,
yeah, the stars are on the same place.
they're still in the same place, okay. But don't forget, although we're doing this 1,000 miles an hour and 67,000 miles an hour and 500,000, all of them stars are doing the same. They're doing their own orbits and their own, in all different directions, and yet we don't observe, since astronomy began, we've never observed any changes. Is that suspect?
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point, because they don't say that the Milky Way rotates with the Earth or something. They don't say that, do they?
There's lots of because all of this, it's do you know what Lego is? The jigsaw puzzles. They're just small little pieces. And I got involved in this about 6 months ago, and it was only because I thought it was all ridiculous, stupid nonsense. I mean, like, if I was you, I wouldn't give me the time of day. I would have walked past and, oh, bloody nonsense, idiots. You know, like, at least you're open-minded enough to be challenged. You're open-minded enough.
I don't know much about exact sciences.
Yeah.
I'm a natural engineer.
Yeah.
And I studied Newton's physics.
Yeah.
But I'm open to question that.
Oh well, I'm good. I'm glad because you know what they say science is. They say let's just open his head, let's pour the science in, and he's got to regurgitate. He's got to just parrot everything that we've told him.
But if you don't let yourself to question, the only thing I don't question is God, religion. I don't question that.
Yeah.
That's belief, and I will never question it now.
Okay,
but science. If you don't question science,
see science. Science. Well, I mean, the belief in it's a big contradiction there, what you've just said. You know, like between God and believing in the Earth is a globe and that we all come from a big bang.
I'm not saying that I believe the Earth is a globe. I'm not saying
No.
That's why I'm
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, but there is a contradiction in God and the Big Bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is.
And that's all I'm saying. You know, I'm what you call an agnostic.
That's why I say I don't question God.
Right.
I know if I have to be,
you have faith.
A scientist.
Yeah.
If I have to question God, then there's no proof that He's.
And I think it's more than a belief, isn't it? You have faith that God exists and that. And
I prefer to think like that.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's great.
I don't question Him.
Yeah.
If I have to question, I question everything, but religion.
Right.
Is because I choose to.
Yeah. I believe that man has interfered with religion, and that we are getting told lies about religion. That's what I do believe. I think that.
And there's some proof that in every religion.
Yeah.
There is a savior that died at 33 years old.
Yeah.
He's the son of a virgin.
That's right.
And
I've read that. I read all that. Yeah.
12 apostles.
Yeah.
In different religions, that the same thing happens. But I don't question it. I understand that there is reasons to believe.
I mean, that could all be the Son of God. Could be. I mean, I don't know. As I say, I'm an agnostic. Of all the things in the world that I don't know, that lies on the fence. I don't know. You know. Well, anyway, getting back to this. Did you get one of them off me? You got one of them. Did you get a card? On this card, it's just a start. It's got some essential video YouTube films. It's festart.co.uk.
Okay.
And it's that. Start off with that.
Yeah.
Watch that. 200 Proofs. Earth is not a spinning ball by Eric Dubay. And I'm not asking. No one's twisting your arm and saying you have to believe us. We're right. You're wrong, and all that. It's not about that.
Why do you not believe in gravity?
Because I know it is density and buoyancy now. I mean, can I regurgitate what I've learned now? I really can't regurgitate. I was never clever enough at school, you know, like to do that. I mean, but there is. If you go on my website.
But why do more dense things go down?
Okay, they believe that's to do with electromagnetism. electromagnetism, not just magnets or anything like that, but electromagnetism, and to do, I imagine to do with static in that, you know, in the air, because they do say that there's a greater static charge the higher that you go up. Okay.
But the thing is that the theory of electromagnetism has to work with the gravity theory.
Right, so I know you just said theory.
Electromagnetism is an invention.
Yeah.
It's an invention to try to understand.
And don't forget, Tesla didn't believe in all this nonsense. You know, like Tesla believed in the electromagnetic universe. That's what he believed in. You know, so there is questions, and we're not being told a lot.
What I do know is that it took the scientists more than 100 years to create the electromagnetism theory.
Yeah.
And it works with gravity.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in gravity, you need to redefine all the electromagnetism law.
Right.
And also the Maxwell laws.
The which?
The 4 Maxwell laws.
Oh,
try to explain electromagnetism.
Right. Okay. I think I need to do a bit more studying on that.
So do I. But it's good that you question things, but
I mean, there's lots of things that we've yet to learn. You know, this is a big thing for me. You know, it's like, I mean, obviously we've all believed in space. I mean, I believed in space and NASA and going to the moon. I believed in all this without question. But if you check this out, the thermosphere is 2,500 degrees Celsius. But aluminium melts at 660. How do satellites and these actually, you know, like, because even glass melts, you know, like, it can't all be, you see astronauts with their thin suits and that, and they pull open, this is out in space, Velcro, and they lock it back down, and, you know, why aren't things melting?
So this is
the thermosphere.
This is a proven fact.
Oh, this is, well,
how do we know that? Is that what they tell us?
Yeah, that's what they tell us. And you're right. How do we know? But they're shooting themselves in their, you know, in the foot themselves. This is Wikipedia and Google. You know, that's their facts.
And the reason is because we are closer to the sun. It's supposed to be hotter there.
Not necessarily, because even when you get into the exosphere, it can actually go from 0 all the way up to 3,000 degrees. 2,000. So it gets a little bit colder. So, which is kind of weird, so I don't know. But that's their facts, which kind of don't make sense. I mean, this is a picture from the International Space Station.
Well, it's closer to the sun, depending on, I mean, if we understand, if we think that the Earth is round, a globe, and that it rotates, like here, then if we are here, it's not closer to the sun, right? So here it could be like thousands Kelvin.
This is the thing. This is right. Before all this come along, I had a problem with seasons, and my biggest problem. I mean, this is going back 10 years. I could never understand how seasons work. I know that we're 93 million miles away, and then it's 91 million miles away, and that's what governs our seasons, because we are closer. It's on an elliptical path. And at some point we're a little bit closer, and then it's sunny for us. But that's ridiculous. And they say it's about the angle of the sun rays coming down. You know, so whether it was coming in this way or that way, why should that make any difference on how hotter we are?
Why do we? So during the day, we are standing here.
Yeah.
We see the sun coming from the horizon.
Yeah.
We see it. And then, you know, from the east, and then we see...
I mean, obviously this isn't to scale or anything like that, but we actually see the horizon, the sun coming towards us. We kind of, to do with perspective and refraction, we perceive that as it coming up from the Earth. It isn't. If you on my channel as well, you can actually see the sun getting smaller and bigger. You know, like, so as it goes away, you can see the sun getting smaller. Why? It's 93 million miles away. Why can we see the sun go smaller? Do you understand that? It's 93 million miles away. Why would it go smaller in a couple of hours?
I don't know, and I also don't know why do we see sometimes a very big moon and sometimes we see a very small.
I've had this on we had a full supermoon, a full moon on New Year. Was it New Year's Day? New Year's Eve, I think it was. Well, I filmed it. I took pictures. I put a ruler, and I took a picture. You know, like from when it started out. I think at about 10 o'clock at night. Then 11 o'clock, then 12, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and you can see it getting smaller as it goes away. Why? Why would we actually see that happen? I mean, like in our reality, for what they say that where the moon is, we would never see any difference in size. It's not possible. It's 250,000 miles away.
Yeah. I'm with you there, but I still don't understand why.
It might be because I'm not explaining it properly, that's all.
I'm with you there in the sizes.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is I've been seeing the dawn of the day.
Yeah.
And the sun goes down the horizon.
All right.
And I see half the sun.
Yes.
I see half.
And then you see it kind of morph or bend into. It never looks like a complete circle. It seems to sort of like melt into the ground, into the sea as it goes down. If you look.
That I wouldn't be able to tell. I haven't.
YouTube it.
Too much attention.
That's okay. YouTube that. It's refraction. You know what? There's evidence there. When we see the sun go over, and then what they do is they've got these new P900 cameras. You know, amazing zoom on it. They zoom straight back in, and you can see the whole sun again. And it's half a sun. It's actually gone, and you think, well, why is it gone? The sun's half gone, and then you zoom in again, and you can see right underneath it again.
Okay. And it has to do with reflection.
It's to do with perspective and refraction.
Refraction.
Okay, refraction. Perspective and refraction. And there's another word that I've just learned: angular resolution.
Angular resolution.
See, because I'm coming from a non-scientific background, so I've had to take on quite a lot to understand this.
Maybe you wouldn't be able to explain refraction or angular resolution.
No, but I can watch a film and understand it and go, oh yeah, but can I teach it? You're quite right, I can't teach it. You know, like I wouldn't know where to begin. But that card I've just given you, it's got some great clips. It will explain that, and then just follow it along. You know, again, we're just asking people, challenging people to critically think of the world, because we did grow up, you know, at the age of 5 years of age, your teacher said, that's where you live. And if anyone in the class said, why don't you fall off when you're down the bottom, the teacher just would have said, it's gravity. And that's it. Until you're a grown person or in that, you probably, have you ever challenged that, ever in your entire life?
Yeah, I mean, all my entire life I've been thinking, how come we can all fit in a globe, and how come do we not fall? Like,
well, I'd never challenge that. You really surprised me. That's, I mean, so it's at the back of your head, that is critical thinking.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't accept all that stuff. I understand gravity as an invention to try to understand what's happening.
Right.
I'm not one of those that say, no, you're saying bullshit, gravity exists and Newton proved it.
Yeah.
Proved the opposite. No.
Well, they haven't even proved that yet. No. As I said, it's still the theory of gravity. Yeah. This is Polaris. That was the Polaris. And as I say, I mean, you see these perfect circles that it does, and you never see any parallax ever.
I thought that, and I respect all this. When I came here for the first time, I mean, a few minutes before talking to you, I remembered Jaquil O'Neill saying that the Earth is square.
All right, yes.
And then I say, oh, come on, what are they going to say? No, but you're wisely critical.
Yes, and that's why we show this as a demonstration, but we're not saying this is our model. This is fact. This is truth.
Yeah, because probably
we don't know.
A few things that won't fit with this.
Yeah, well, there is a few things. There's one or two things that are wrong. And the thing is, we don't know whether that's infinite or not. We don't know, you know, because people say, oh, where's the edge and that. There might not be an edge. It might go on forever. We don't know. We accept that we've been told that the universe is an infinite space that carries on forever, why can't we believe for a second that it would be an infinite plane? Now, there is some interesting things. When you watch 200 Proofs, there's a chap called Admiral Byrd. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No.
Well, Admiral Byrd, he went to Antarctica, okay, to the South Pole, Antarctica, and he said beyond the South Pole, he came across more land that is as big as America. So, and that was beyond. And then when he got back, they sent a fleet of warships and all that all the way down there. And he's saying this in an interview. It's all in black and white. It'll be on 200 Proofs. You'll see him.
So when I travel to China, I did both ways.
Did you detour somewhere?
What?
Did you detour? Because let's say, where was you going from? France?
I'm Argentine.
Oh, sorry.
I'm starting here.
Right.
And so China is.
So China is there. So you would think it would just go straight across, wouldn't you, to China? Yeah, that would be. In fact, nearly straight. What about you? Are you on this side or that side?
No. Well, I'm here. To be honest, what I saw was the map of the airplane. So the airplane's map was telling me that we were going. So if I do a scale in, let's say Paris, that we would go this way and then like this.
Okay.
But if I go through New York, then I go this way, and then I go like this way. In this model, it wouldn't make sense because the distance is much bigger.
Let's have a look. Right. So we're Argentina. Okay.
Yeah. So you have two ways of going to China. Let's say.
Well, for me, it'd be straight the way across. It would just be that. So what about you?
But where do you refuel?
Well, that's right. So I would say, it should be.
You need to change the airplane. You can't do
no, that's right. So I would say that anywhere between sort of like Canada and New York, wouldn't it? That'd be the best place on the globe.
From
that
New
is.
York, it's supposedly from New York to China.
Yeah.
The planes go this way.
But that makes no sense. Why would it want to do that? But surely that's going to be the quickest route. Mm-hmm. Why would it want to go that way?
I'm not sure that's the quickest route. So we need to check actually because it's.
I have.
It's this.
I have.
Or it's,
I have checked. Basically, what happens is this is an example. That's Santiago and that's Sydney. Okay. Why wouldn't it just fly straight the way across to go to there? What it does is that it goes all the way up to either Saudi Arabia or Germany or somewhere like that, and then comes back down. That's what it does. And it makes no sense whatsoever. But on this model, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but here, you can't do this flight in one shot.
They say so, but no one does. If you try and get on that plane, it's always full. It's always. And then what happens? Have you ever done?
This will be a 20.
Have you ever done?
Hours
have you ever done airplane trackers and that? Have you ever seen the airplane tracker? You can go to a website and you can track all the airplanes.
Yes.
Okay. So you go on that and check that track a Santiago flight going to Sydney, and you see that as it comes over, it stops, it vanishes just there, and then it'll reappear about here, and you don't see that flight. Every other flight is monitored in the world, but you'll never see that flight. And you try and get on it. I bet you don't know anyone who's ever been on that flight. But you'll always, what they'll say is you'll book a ticket on it and then you'll get moved at the last second. They'll say, oh no, try this flight instead. We've got you on this route, but you've got one stopover. You'll always get that flight.
Yeah. I'm not aware. It might be though. I'm not aware.
Yeah, but I mean, go to that site that I said to you, FE Start. Just any other questions that you can think of? I mean, satellites and that. Are you familiar with where your phone goes, your signal? Where do you think your phone goes?
More or less. I mean, I think there is a tower, an antenna in an open place.
Okay, good.
In a very, very high frequency.
Yeah.
It sends signals to all of us.
Right. Okay. Because most people actually think that your mobile phone just goes up into space.
No, I'm not saying it goes into space. I'm saying that
it goes to a cell
there is
tower.
an antenna in the middle of the field.
Yeah. A cell tower. Yeah.
This one, and it transmits signals at a very high frequency.
Yeah.
And they go everywhere. They're not going up.
No, and that's good.
Everywhere.
And that's right. That's what we believe. We don't believe that these satellites exist anyway. I've just said the reason why, temperatures. But like even GPS is nothing but it's E-Lauren on cell towers doing triangulation. That's all it is. GPS is.
Because we supposedly GPS is receiving information from a satellite. Yeah.
That's right. Global positioning satellites, but it really isn't.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fascinating subject, isn't it?
Yeah, and also how do satellites sustain the heat rotation around the Earth? How do they?
Where's the propulsion?
Huh?
The propulsion. How does it maintain? Because what they say, and then how do they get to that speed? Because they've got to go at something like 17,000, 20,000 miles per hour.
And they have different satellites at different orbits of the Earth.
That's right.
At different speeds.
Yeah.
How do they manage that? I don't know.
How do they get faster? And then what maintains that propulsion? Where does that come from? Because we know that they've got solar power, but they haven't got rocket fuel and that make them go again, because apparently the International Space Station every 3 months or so is meant to fire some sort of rocket booster to get it back into orbit, because it's apparently fallen to Earth all the time. Really? It's been up there for over 30 years. This is nonsense. This. I mean, and I say a lot of these satellites, there's probably about 20 or 30,000 satellites up there now. I mean, have we ever heard of one breaking down? No, I mean, when do they break down? I mean, like how many video recorders and DVD players and TVs that you've gone through? These things never break down. So it really is, it's nonsense. Anything to do with space, it's not what people think.
I'll go through the information you've given me.
Yeah.
All this is in here, right?
Yeah.
And in the webpage.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
Pleasure talking to you.
All right then.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, nice speaking to you.
Proof doesn't work.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people use it, yeah.
All right, guys.
I'm okay.
It's hard work, isn't it, to try and believe in anything like that?
Yeah.
Do you believe in satellites in space?
I haven't really thought about it, but I guess I do.
Most people don't. I mean, like, how could they, with the temperatures of 2,500 degrees Celsius, and aluminium melts at 600 degrees, how would they survive?
I'm guessing they have other metals. I'm not an expert in.
They've even got glass windows. Even glass melts at that. How would that survive?
I mean, I don't know.
So what we're asking people is just to go home and critically think.
Yeah.
So take that one, okay? And I'll give you one more. I'll give you a card to go with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to that website.
I know.
Do that.
There's a lot of things, like, I don't understand why it would be a lie. Like, what's the point in lying about it? What's the point? Like,
you're not ready for that one.
No, I am ready for
you're
it.
not.
What is it?
You're not.
Like, I don't need
no one's going to tell you you're not ready for it. You're not asking.
I could believe.
You need to know the facts first.
No. I could believe all of this if I could think of a legitimate reason as to why it's happening. But no, who has vested interest in making all of it?
I could tell you, and you're not ready for it.
I'm not ready for it.
You're not.
I'm not. Like, what?
So go to that, research that. There's a website on the back of that card, and then I won't need to tell you.
Yeah.
You'll know yourself. It'll all be apparent.
Yeah. I have a feeling that's not going to happen.
Oh, it will?
I mean, I really don't think so. Like, I don't think I'm going to start believing that the Earth is flat.
Don't want you to. Don't need you to. Don't want you to. We want you to critically think.
Yeah.
We just want you, because when you're at school, you're shown that at school. What was you, like 4 or 5?
Yeah.
And you're shown that, and they just said, believe that is where you live. Just believe. We're not going to give you any proof.
Yeah.
We're not going to give you any scientific demonstrations. We want you to believe that's where you live.
Give us a demonstration of that unless we went into space.
Well, that's right. That'd be good, wouldn't it? And yet, why do NASA never give us a real photo of Earth? There is not one photo of Earth in existence.
I don't know. You'll have to ask NASA that.
And the thing is, they're the pictures that they give us. You know, if you look on the back of that.
Yeah.
If you look on the back of that one.
Yeah.
That's NASA's pictures. Can you see a problem with it? What do you think the problem would be? They're downloaded from NASA's website. The size of the continents?
Yeah, it's strange, like it's not the same.
Why would it be? Do they shrink and grow continents?
But I'm not going to lie to you. If you could just tell me why you think this is true.
I don't think you're ready.
What do you mean I'm not ready? Like, I don't understand what that could possibly mean.
You'll see. You'll see.
Okay, so there's a bloke there, and you intend to do a complete I want to get the entirety.
That's right.
You're in the middle of the ocean and you look through your 360 parameters and you do something objects that open.
Cognitive dissonance, that's called. Cognitive dissonance.
Not too cheap, Jason.
Oh, not just yet, but yeah, I should have some, shouldn't I?
Yeah, just you'll have to share them out.
I will do, thank you. I should do, because thank you very much. It is. Right, guys, hard work. Have you come across anything like this before?
Not really, no.
I thought it was lunacy 6 months ago. Lunacy. And I don't think I would have stopped to pay attention and have a look at it. But there's a lot of truths in here. Like a lot of the information all comes from Wikipedia and Google and that. Like the thermosphere, it's 2,500 degrees Celsius. How do satellites survive there and the International Space Station? Because aluminium melts at 660 degrees.
That's a question then.
Go on, go.
You were in a plane.
Okay.
And you flew that way.
Yeah, south.
Kept going. Where would you end up?
Well, we don't know. No one's ever been. They have this Antarctica treaty in place. Okay, so we believe that Antarctica is right round us the whole way. They have this Antarctica treaty in place, and we're not allowed to go. You can go to the South Pole, to Antarctica. You get escorted. You're allowed to go around about 100 miles from the edge. You're escorted. You're not allowed to be by yourself. You're not allowed to explore. Oh, that's a great idea. Let's put it down to conservation. I was going to say conversation. Yeah, and it seems plausible, that does. I agree.
But like what?
But you know how big Antarctica is meant to be.
But like, what's the like? What would it possibly gain out of it? Like, it's not like I don't really care at the end of the day if it's wound up flat. Like, what would
hidden land maybe? Control, because at the moment we think we live on there, so, and we know that it's almost an impossibility. Lovely one, thank you. We know it's an impossibility to go into space myself, because I'm not an astronaut. I'm not going to be able to go. But what happens if it is an infinite plane and there is more lands and we can go elsewhere?
Like NASA's videos and stuff.
Videos? Well, you know what green screens are, don't you?
The videos, there's like footage from the space station.
Okay, sorry, I've been doing this all day, sorry. There's a chap over there called Robert Sims. He creates all the pictures of Earth, and he does it through, do you know what composites are? Well, composite is basically, you know, take a picture, just high altitude balloons and that. Yeah. Take a picture, and he says, what he does, he gathers all that information, he stitches them all together, and he wraps it around a blank 3D wall. And before Photoshop came along, they used to paint the globe. And I don't know if you've seen, they can paint that can so realistic, and you won't be able to tell the difference, you know, which one's a photograph and which one's not. Did you know that on all the pictures on NASA's website, it says every picture of Earth is a composite? Every picture. Yeah, we have never seen Earth, and we've sent people to the moon. Do you think they could have just gone like that and just took some pictures?
Well, if it is right, so if we go back to the thing where if it is more land, control and like what?
I mean, NASA gets £52 million per day. Okay, 52 million a day. That doesn't sound right. Was it 19 million a day? I think it was 52 million a day. Is that not a big enough reason? I mean, like all these people that are starving and homeless all around the world, they could do with that money what NASA gets at. So that means control. That means that if they're grabbing that money off us, that means that all these homeless people.
Yeah, but it's just, no, I agree with you on that point, but if it wasn't going to NASA, it would just go to some other government body. Like,
see, I mean, I don't believe that NASA wants the money for themselves. I mean, have you ever researched on how money is made, where it comes from, money? It used to be, what's it all done on and stamped to what gold we had. You know, like, so whatever gold we had, it used to be direct correlation to that. Now it's just someone on a computer screen, it's just a couple of digits. They just create money out of thin air, nothing. So I believe like NASA's got this budget that's infinite. So, but they still take that money away from society. I mean, like...
You could say that about any massive body ever that takes a lot of money. Like, you could say that about anything though.
I know, but we're just showing little jigsaw pieces. That's not the cruxus of all of this.
Out NASA is like the one.
Well, no, I know the space agencies, they're all in on it. All the space agencies, they have to be.
Then why would they gain from, what would they gain from the money if they think that...
Want to do travel to the moon, why would they?
Well, I mean, you believe in the moon landing? Because I mean, I did. I mean, remember, I've only been involved in this about 6 months, so I believed in the moon landing. Have you seen like the flag waving in space when they put the... Yeah. So would that be a question for you?
I've seen all about it.
Okay, but when the lunar module and it landed, did you see that there was no blast crater underneath? There is no blast crater. There isn't even any dust on top of the legs of the lunar module.
The moon's like a completely different surface to what we're used to.
Yeah, dusty.
The surface of Earth.
Very dusty.
Completely different to the Earth.
And the thing is, when the blast crater come down and it went like that, it should be, the blast crater would be so much worse than what it would be on Earth. It would be so much worse.
Like, why?
You're going for this why thing.
But like, what is the...
Be great.
What's the gain out of it?
All you're going to get is people's opinions. See, because you'll never get any true factual evidence what you're looking for. Because who have we taken to court? Who have we said, right, give us this information? Where are we going to get this information from?
I don't really care.
Then you're one of them few people that you're going to have a happy life.
Like, why do you,
it's great.
Why do you mind so much? If your opinion
point is that it's taking money away from homeless people, then rather...
No, you're just calling me on the spot to give you an answer. Got to have an answer. I don't know. I really don't know.
Why
don't know.
are you so confused?
You say whys. I don't know. I can give you what is not happening. I can tell you that. I can tell you that Polaris is there, North Star. Okay, we are spinning round at 1,000 miles an hour. Spinning around. We are travelling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. The sun is travelling at 500,000 miles an hour and dragging us along with us. And then when we go round to make a whole year, go around the sun, we still see the North Star. It's been there since astronomy began. There's your pictures.
Yeah,
that's Polaris.
It's ages away.
And don't forget, all of them stars, they're all doing their own speeds and their own parallaxes. We see no parallax. Even you're not critically thinking. What you're trying to do is tell us what science says, and you're and that's what I would have done. Because like 6 months ago, I could parrot what I was taught, but I couldn't evidence it. I could only just give you beliefs on what I was taught. But when you critically think it doesn't make sense. As I say, the pyramids of Giza, they're perfectly aligned with their stars. And don't forget, them stars are doing all of their orbits and all their speeds and ridiculous speeds.
Yeah, so do you still believe that star is another sun, miles and miles?
No, well, no, because I say, they say, I mean, that's a star, isn't it? I mean, the sun. They say it's 93 million miles away. Okay? 93 million miles away. When we have an eclipse, can you make a shadow smaller than itself? So if I had the sun here now, could I make a shadow smaller than my hand? Is that possible? And where in nature could you do that? And could you prove that to me? Anywhere in nature, is that possible to make a shadow smaller than the object that you're putting there? But the sun does eclipses, and the sun will do this eclipse. See, we believe that the moon is probably about...
Is that your view on what it is?
This is so that we can give you an explanation on things, on how things work. You know, we don't know. We've never been there, but it all fits.
What would your explanation for an eclipse be?
For an eclipse? Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like that would just pass in front of it, because we believe it's 35. We believe. We're not saying. We're not saying that they are to the millimeter level. We know. We're not saying that. Because you're quite right. If it is as hot as what they say it would be, we'd have problems, wouldn't we?
With all this, what is the end game? Like, what do you hope to gain from?
We want what we want to get. We want to expose NASA. We want to expose the governments for lying to us. That's the end game. What we want from you guys and what we want from me is just for you to go home and not do them beliefs, but just to critically think it yourself. What difference does it make? In what way?
Like, what difference does it make if it's not happening around in the grand scheme?
It depends on you. It's all about your life. If you live here, let's say in this park, and you don't travel anywhere else along the world, and there's your house there, and there's your job, and your doctors is there and all that, it'd have no effect on your life whatsoever. So it'd be okay. Did you know that there's never been an expedition? There's never anyone that's gone north to south, ever. No one's ever been north to south. We've had lots of people, explorers, going around, but no one has ever flown north to south. And you know why? Because you can't. It's never happened in the history of mankind. Don't say cold, because like aeroplanes are cold, because they kind of like they travel to Iceland and all sorts.
No, given the fact that nobody's flew that way, doesn't mean that it's...
No, but it's another piece of the puzzle. Yeah, you're quite right. It doesn't mean that but the thing is, do you not think that of all explorers that we've had in the world, even like Richard Branson and stuff, do you think one of them would have?
But there's a lot of room.
I mean, I'm not an explorer. It's something that I wouldn't want to do, but like I know there is explorers out there that want to be the first to do something.
Maybe if there was like, if this case got so big though that NASA actually went out and said, okay, we'll fly a plane around there.
Yeah.
Then what would you do after that?
Well, the thing is, look, do you know the way aeroplanes work? They fly to an artificial horizon. Okay, so they have you've seen the little ball of that pretend aeroplane. Okay, so they ascend, they go up, they fly level, it stays level, and then they descend, and you can see it descend. That's the way a plane works. At what point, when it's say going from England to Australia, at what point does the elevator, he engage the elevators and he starts dipping his nose? Because it actually drops about 500 meters per minute. Why doesn't he drop his nose?
Relative scale of a plane to the Earth.
Oh yeah, but we're talking about, let's say, a 24-hour journey. A 24-hour journey, he has to engage them elevators. He's going to fly off into space if he just flies level.
Yeah, surely the aeroplane would have some sort.
He's got elevators, that's right, and he's got an autopilot, but they don't engage. That's what I'm saying.
How do you explain the curvature of the Earth from like the Hubble station or something?
Sorry?
You're on about flat Earth?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
How do you explain the curvature?
Are you okay? I'll just say goodbye to you. It's nice talking to you. Critically think. I give you a card, didn't I? Did I not give you a card? There you go, buddy.
Crazy,
right, I'll explain to you then. Okay, you're saying curvature from where?
From the space station.
Space station. Come here. These are Wikipedia and Google's.
I know they use the same photo, don't they?
I wasn't getting to that. Look, the thermosphere. It's around about 2,500 degrees Celsius. Yeah. Okay, that's what Wikipedia and Google say. Aluminium melts at 660. Why do you think the International Space Station is in the thermosphere in space?
Because they can't.
It really can't be there.
It can't get past the radiation.
I mean, the Van Allen belt. Yeah, but that's a little bit further, that is. That's in the exosphere.
So you don't think we're going to the moon?
I really don't. I don't think it's possible. I mean, did you see the waving flag? And
yeah, I'm big into all my conspiracies.
Right, I know. Well, in that case, you're a little bit from me, but this was two step too far, I thought. Debunk it. Do you know what debunk means?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, well, I didn't. Debunk it. Go ahead. Have you done that one? 200. Ever done 200 proofs? Do a couple of videos. Be open-minded. You are open-minded. You're a conspiracy theorist. You know, like I've done that one there. It'll put you FE start. It'll just show you a few videos and that. Just do a few of them, and then write down a few reasons why. Oh, that's crap. That's crap. Debunk it. You know, because we're not asking you to join our club. We're not asking you anything like that. We just want you to go home, critically think. Go on, grab that. You know, and you're right. I'm really all with you. I thought this was kind of nonsense, and I wouldn't give me the time of day.
You can explain anything if you put enough time into it, can't you?
The thing is, I have done a lot of research in this, and I could show you problems all day long. You know, like even with GPS and triangulation.
Believe we live in a dome.
It's a tough one, that is, because we've got reasons why we live in a dome, but we haven't got first-hand proof. You know, so it's almost like a personal journey between people.
Let's say we live on a flat disk.
Okay.
Gravity gets heavier.
But that's because you believe in gravity. We don't believe in gravity. We believe it's density and buoyancy.
Okay.
Okay. Remember, gravity's still at the stage of it's a theory. The theory of gravity. Yeah. Never been proven. The theory of gravity. The theory of relativity.
But things fall the same direction no matter where it's not like.
Yeah, they say that, don't they?
They do.
Do they?
Yeah.
I mean, because the only what's the example that I've ever seen is oh god, that I forget his bloody name, and he goes in a vacuum chamber and he drops the feather and the bowling ball. That's the only evidence. And if you look, the camera cuts. You never see that in one go, and that's the only time I've seen in a vacuum if that's true or not. You know, like I'd like to see that experiment again. Well, you know, like with the camera and we see the one shot, and then I'll believe that then if they show it me.
Look at that. They came down exactly the same. Wow. Look. That's right there. Look at how they hit right there. Exactly. You're back on the side. Exactly the same. Feathers don't move, nothing. Look at that. That's just brilliant.
Okay, let me try and highlight the obvious fraud in this experiment. How they have done it is they have taken this shot that we can see here now. They have dropped the bowling ball and the feathers literally just above off camera, and they have run that footage back through. Once they have done that, they've captured a still image around about here. So once again, what they've done is they've just dropped the bowling ball and feathers just off shot. In editing software, they've captured this still image of the event, which is obviously just before the feathers are literally just touching and the bowling ball is obviously about to hit. And they've captured this still image and they've used it for the entirety of the experiment. Okay, so using that knowledge, let's just play the experiment back and see. First thing to observe here at the beginning of the shot is we have the bowling ball, and the wire coming out the top is slightly higher than the feather. Now, just before it leaves screen, we can see that it is no longer, it's off shot before the feather. Also, the feather is moving. You can see that air must be interacting with that feather, otherwise it would not move in that manner. But we move to the next shot because there's only 3 shots here. Now here's where they've taken the still image from their experiment, and farcically all they've done is just, as I say, use that still image. Now we conveniently, how conveniently we cut before we see the impact. Then we can see the still image that they've used coming in. It's around about, obviously, about just before then, obviously, that the still image was captured, round about here. Then they've resumed the original footage, and of course then we can see things acting very differently. For example, now we see movement in the feathers once again, which can only be due to the air. We also notice that the feathers propelled further up in the air than the bowling ball. So this is contrary to everything that we've just been explained by Professor Cox. They're propelled, some of those feathers are even reaching out of screen, whereas the bowling ball remains stuck. And in fact, if it wasn't for the fact that conveniently the British Brainwashing Corporation have cut this and ended the program, we would see the bowling ball using its own weight to descend more rapidly than the feathers.
But I mean, you know the way green screens work and layers and all that. There's a lot of problems with the International Space Station, an awful lot of problems. Yeah, I mean, gravity.
Interesting. It's very interesting.
Oh, it is. It's
kind of addictive.
I kind of like, I've gone one step beyond being addictive now. It's kind of like, I want the bastards to pay. Yeah. They're lying to us. We're being indoctrinated. We're being, because I mean, like, we never challenged that. I got thrust that in my face at 5 years of age.
Well, they believed, didn't they? Before that it was a flat Earth.
That's right. That's right. You know, up until about the 19th century, did you know that? You know, like there was still a lot of people that, you know, and there's actually I think it's a Liverpool paper, and he says that they're going to take someone to court for believing in the globe. They were going to, prosecute him. Kind of weird. It's an endless subject, and I never know where to start. It's like photographs from space. On NASA's website, it says these are all composites. Okay, so you know what a composite is? Take lots of pictures, stitch them up.
Stick them all together, yeah.
Robert Sims, he makes them into a globe. He says he grabs these composites and he stitches them all together and he wraps it around a blank sphere and makes like the globe as we know today. But we've never had any photographs. There is no negatives. So, you know, why not? Even when they went,
it's so easy to go there.
Even when they went to the moon, when they had the camera and all that. Well, if I went up on a mountain, you know the first thing I'd do? God, look at this! This is great! When you go to the moon, it's your life's ambition, you know, like, and then you finally get up there and all you want to do is that. Why didn't he ever go round? It's your life's ambition, you're a bloody astronaut. You'd be going, oh, look at her. If you go through it all, not one of them ever said, oh, look how beautiful our Earth is, our planet is.
Have you had the theory that we're spinning and we're going like up?
Oh.
That's the reason why we're being...
Yeah, I don't believe in that at all.
Don't believe in that.
Yeah, that's all part of the bloody Flat Earth Society nonsense.
Nothing to do with that.
No, I've never met a Flat Earther that is belonging to that believes in that. We know that to be government disinformation.
So what do you believe? Like, what's your
gut feeling? Yeah. Because there's a lot. I believe that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So you do believe in a flat?
Oh, I do believe that a flat plane. Yeah, I do believe that. I don't know the dimensions.
No,
it might go on for infinite. It might stop there. It might be there. I don't know. I've never been. You know, so it would only be like me just pretending, sort of. I know.
What happens if none of it's real? I'm talking to you now. That's not good. What happens if you go in for that way?
I don't go for any of that. That's too philosophical for me. John Smith over here, he talks to people about and on his YouTube channel, and they do question a lot about the Matrix.
Have you got a YouTube channel?
Yeah, did I give you a card there?
Yeah.
Right, on that card, you'll see I'm Jason of the Disbury family. Okay. So you go to FE Start. Yeah. And on there's a bunch of YouTube clips, and you'll see me down the bottom, Jason of the Disbury family. Just click on there and it'll take me straight there, and you'll probably be able to get to see yourself, maybe. Depends if I edit you in or out.
Don't edit me in. I don't know what to
we don't half the time. I mean, it's an exciting subject.
It is.
It's when you first come to it, it is bloody nonsense. If you come to this brand new, I mean, like, that's why we don't, you know, when you get a lot of people and they kind of like laugh at us or, oh, it's a tin farmer. Yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of like our social conditioning. We are challenged to do that, you know, it's the way we're brought up. So I get that, because I was you 6 months ago. Yeah, of course. And then, but now, I wouldn't be disrespectful to say this to other people that, you know, like now, because I know that's me. That was me. So when you come to this and I think, oh, this is nonsense. Did I give you? Did you have a leaflet?
Yeah, the guy.
Well, on the leaflet, it also says it on the card, and it says it there as well. This is huge. I never knew what this meant. There's a lot of words that are all brand new. Yeah. You know, sometimes people hold a core belief that's very strong. When they are presented with the evidence that works against that belief, the new evidence cannot be accepted. Yeah. It would create feelings that is extremely uncomfortable, called cognitive dissonance. And because it is so important to protect that core belief, that globe, and that's what we're doing, we're protecting that.
You feel vulnerable, don't you? You're told it doesn't happen.
I didn't know what that was, never heard of such a thing. You know, like, but it kind of made me want further evidence. You know, and that's what I've done. I spent it took me 4 months to make my mind up. And I did about 18-hour days. And I challenge gravity, I challenge relativity, That's the biggest one for me, gravity. Well, it's to do with electromagnetism, density and buoyancy. Yeah. You know, because why do balloons go up? We know there's helium in there.
It's like an air.
So we already know it's to do with density. That's what lighter than air means, density. We know this. That's what it means. We've just kind of substituted and said, oh no, that's a word all by itself, it's lighter than air. No, it's not, that means density. So yeah, you just got to challenge every part of it. And you will come unstuck on 1 or 2 items that even I struggle on. I won't tell you what they are, because you might be brainier than me and go, oh yeah, that was easy.
I don't know a lot.
Sorry.
I like to think I'm intelligent, but...
No, but the thing is, I find that most of us are intelligent as long as we step back and critically think and don't think about what we're regurgitating. You know, like what we regurgitate, what we parrot, what the teacher says, oh, let me open your head and I'll pour science into you. I mean, that's stupid.
That C one's quite interesting.
Which one's that? And I mean, you know the way water behaves. What's the physics of water?
That's everything.
It stays flat. Physics of water is flat. We don't see it in nature, but could I pour water over that ball down there?
No, it'll come off.
It'll come off. And so that's the way what we see it. We see water like that. If there's a curvature underneath the water, it will level out and flat. We don't see water like this. But that's what they want us to believe, is that. I could have you here for hours if you had the time, but 200 proofs, start there. It's on that for FE start. Click onto that, start there. It's an eye-opener. Oh God, the things that will make you question. It's like aeroplanes. You know, as I said, I was speaking to the, I don't know if you caught a bit of that.
A little bit, tiny little bit.
Well, aeroplanes, I mean, as I say, they ascend with an artificial horizon. You can see the artificial horizon move. And they ascend, they fly up to it. And then once they're up, they level out. And the artificial horizon will stay there for 24 hours as they go. Well, that's right. They would like to think that at some point they would compensate. They've got elevators that are on the aeroplane. That's what makes them go up and down. They've got elevators. They don't engage. They don't engage them until ascending and descending. That's it. There's no autopilot that goes, oh, let's just nudge that a bit. We're going too big. They don't do it. Check all that out. They fly level. That's why it's called the horizon, not the conversion. Someone said something like that. Just trying to repeat it. I'll edit that one out. Yeah. Take your time.
I'm waiting for something to start. So.
Well, any questions, just grab me. You know. Good. Well, it's nice talking to you anyway.
Yeah, thank you. My name's
Cheers, buddy. All right then.
Okay. Okay, all right. Some people scared to even walk past, aren't they? They're like, no, they're afraid of you. They're afraid of you. They're coming to me. They're coming to me just like that.
Realistic paintings. They used to paint it, you know. Walk over there, get a better picture. All right. All right then. Bye bye.
Right, so what?
Did you get one of them?
Yeah.
You've got them, have you? I bet you haven't got that one though.
Alright, I'm okay.
You're okay. Have you come across it, have you?
Oh yeah, I look at this stuff all the time on the internet. Now, I've not got loads of time, I've got me.
No. Okay.
All I can say is obviously NASA have been lying to us about...
Go on, which part?
Well, all of this part of the composition of the Earth images.
Yeah.
No, they're all CGI images.
Really? So you get that already?
Yeah, I know. Now I've got my own explanation for that, which is that basically how light works in space might have a factor in it. Yeah?
Well, that billboard thing, I noticed it on.
And also everything with the Van Allen radiation belt fries, you know.
Electronics. I mean,
before it can get further out.
because if you put a negative in a airport X-ray detector and that, I mean that fries that, and yet how do they get their negatives back from space through there?
Yeah, exactly. And the same goes for the moon landings where they've got the obvious, you know, fraudery of the images.
So I didn't know all this.
Yeah, how would they have got past the radiation belt again? That was the main issue with that. Another technology that they had back then.
Well,
and obviously their pictures would have been
thermosphere. That's where the International Space Station is.
That's why I like these leaflets, because it is useful for looking at...
It's factual. You know, as I said, when I say factual, it's Wikipedia and Google's science and that, but like whether we can believe it or not, but they're shooting themselves in their own foot, because you know, if aluminium melts at 600 and titanium melts at 1670, that's 2,500 degrees Celsius in the thermosphere. Why do people believe that they're up there if that's the melting points?
It's shocking really how kind of obvious, if you just was informed enough about how science works and stuff, how is it really not more mainstream that we know that this has just obviously got to be one of the biggest frauds of mankind?
It's because of that.
Yeah, because of that possibly, yeah. I think, and I'm going to cut to the chase here, the thing that puts a lot of people off wanting to look into NASA being a fraud, and obviously moon landings being a fraud, and all of the rest of the stuff. Even the ISS, International Space Station, there's nobody on that. And it's absolutely ridiculous to think people would go out and be risking their lives and be absolutely fine with it, doing moonwalks and stuff, which should just...
With no fear whatsoever.
Meteoroids could turn the body inside out
within a second. I don't know if you know, inside the International Space Station, you don't see any hatches or doors and all that. On a submarine, you get court-martialed if you don't lock the door on every compartment. It's worse in space, you know, because you know what a vacuum can do. It's like one little hole. I mean, like I doubt you'd have time to shut any doors and that. You know, like it would implode. And
it'd be a horrible way
mess.
to live up in the International Space Station, isn't it?
Hey guys, today's intellectual grudge match is between the reality of submarines versus the alleged reality of the International Space Station. So let's introduce the contestants and see how they match up.
4,500 pounds per square inch high pressure air everywhere you can reach. We've got 450 volt AC power, 250 volt DC power. We have fans and pumps. We propel it with a nuclear reactor, and then we take it out and intentionally sink it in salt water. That's not inherently safe.
A birthday party in space, and by mistake one balloon goes and can ruin the whole party.
Yeah. But it's neat to blow a balloon up and then let go of it. It goes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Submarines operate in harsh environments with corrosive seawater and at depths where they are subjected to extremely high pressures. A submarine is a complicated ship with thousands of pumps, motors, generators, turbines, and valves that have to be kept in proper working order. When they're not on deployment, about once a quarter, submarines enter an upkeep or refit maintenance period, which lasts about 4 weeks, during which the submarine is repaired to full capacity. After the maintenance period, submarines go to sea for sea trials where they test out the repaired systems, which normally includes a controlled dive down to test depth. In order to do all of this and operate a submarine, it has an average crew of about 150. Next we have the ISS.
Here's one from Peter Manley. Would a balloon pop in space?
So this is interesting.
Well, a balloon will pop inside a station because I've done that. Because I brought some balloons for my kid's birthday celebration, and
I didn't know that.
accidentally popped one, and they go bang.
Did you get in trouble for it? Did your kids complain about that?
No,
Did they know about it?
They didn't know about it. Anyway,
here's
so
Dad doing his best.
So look at these major elements assembled. We have the FGB Zarya Unity, 3 pressurized mating adapters, service module, the trusses, laboratories, airlocks, trusses, more trusses, and we're supposed to believe they were all assembled by these guys in their dockers and socks and you know, their fancy rings and watches. I mean, do these guys look like they're constructing any kind of space station or even snapping it together? I mean, look at all this wiring and, you know, who's welding and riveting, and I mean, if it was real, it would be workers like these guys, real construction workers, real Navy workers, real people who build real things, not these phony baloney people with space hair and wearing their, like I said, fancy jewelry and watches in space when they should look like construction workers if they're up there fixing all these adapters and valves and pipes and maintaining the space station. But anyways, so what kind of crew does it take to actually construct and then maintain and operate this gigantic space station in the most extreme environment known to mankind? The answer is about 5 men or women, depending on the rating. So, next round.
Tend to come left, course 180 to open range these contacts. Carry on.
Carry on, aye, sir.
Pod all 2/3.
All at 2/3, pilot aye.
John Stick to view, control coming course 180.
Set continuous.
FTW, John Stick, aye.
All stack Nuri, answers all at 2/3.
Arrow pilot. Pilot left 20 degrees rudder, steady course 180.
Left 20 degrees rudder, steady course 180, pilot aye.
And what I find super cool about being a flight controller is really the ability to sit on console and command, a few things. And the entire International Space Station, which is, say, the size of a football field, can rotate 180 degrees. And that's something that I can do as a flight controller. So since I can't be an astronaut, I think it's the next best cool thing to do.
Y'all ready for this?
A submarine is incredibly complex with a lot of equipment and something always breaks. Each division sets aside time for corrective maintenance. Submarines have a lot of redundancy and can function with broken equipment while it's being repaired. Navy ships have a maintenance philosophy called preventive maintenance, where equipment is maintained according to a set schedule, just like getting an oil change every 3,000 miles. Submarines operate on a 6-hour watch cycle. The crew is divided into 3 watch sections, and each section stands watch for 6 hours, then gets 12 hours off. During those 12 hours off, a crew member eats, sleeps, trains, and conducts maintenance. As a result, the crew operates on an 18-hour work day. Then there's the engine room, which houses the main engines, electrical turbine generators, electrical motor generators, distillers, and oxygen generators. Now, submarines normally have 2 of everything, and this is because a lot of stuff breaks and you just can't run down to the hardware store when you're underwater or if you're up in space. So they have 2 main engines, 2 electrical turbine generators, 2 motor generators for charging to and fro the battery, and sometimes 4 of them depending on the submarine's class. Also 4 main feed pumps, 4 condensate pumps, etc. And the 2 biggest threats to a submarine are flooding and fire. Unlike surface ships with lots of compartments, if a single compartment gets flooded on a submarine, besides the reactor, the submarine is going to the bottom. The compartments are simply too large, and even with an emergency blow, there isn't enough reserve buoyancy. So stopping any flooding quickly is crucial. Now, fire is the next most dangerous hazard on a submarine. Now, it's a closed environment, and the compartments fill up quickly with toxic gases and thick black smoke. Fires can spread rapidly, destroying any vital equipment. Unlike the ISS, where they don't care if water goes spraying on all their computers. So the crew of a submarine trains constantly, both ashore and at sea, perfecting their skills against these 2 deadly contingencies. Submarine crews conduct engineering drills, ship drills, fire control drills, drill after drill, with the crew fighting a never-ending affliction of things that could possibly go wrong. And ship-wide, the crew runs flooding and fire drills, attempting to anticipate every type of malfunction that could occur. They're deadly serious on the submarine, unlike someone we know. And last but not least, we have the batteries on a submarine. Nuclear submarine batteries, they're small compared to the batteries of diesel submarines, and they'll provide power only for a few hours before becoming drained. So before that happens, the submarine either has to be at periscope depth, which with its emergency diesel generator supporting electrical loads, or have identified and repaired the fault in the reactor. The submarine's battery isn't one battery, but typically 126 or so battery cells connected together. And each cell is quite large, maybe 1 by 1 by 5 foot tall. And as the battery is drained, it's monitored to ensure that none of the cells begin reversing polarity, which means they've become drained and they begin charging themselves at the expense of the remaining battery cells. And at that point, you're in big trouble. So, yeah, and it's very strange that they only get a few hours of battery power on a sub as their backup when that's all the ISS operates on. So, that's very interesting. And to summarize the workload of the ISS astronauts, we have Chris Hadfield, who will open up a freeze-dried emergency kit, just like the freeze-dried ice cream in space, and show us what to do in the case of a deadly emergency, such as a fire or a micrometeorite that blasts through the station and causes all of the air to just explode outward, because remember, you have the vacuum of space, the gigantic universe that is a vacuum that is ultra powerful that would just explode the air right out of the station. So let's hear what he has to say.
And you of course want to protect your eyes. So you put on goggles, and you want to protect your mucous membranes and your lungs. So we put on a mask, try not to break it. Okay, so now I have my mask and my goggles on, and then we want to protect our hands. We have special gloves that protect us against chemicals. They're called silver shield gloves. So I put on the silver shield glove, and now I am ready with various types of absorbing things. And in fact, we have some great big ones, special silica mitts that we could put on top of a nasty spill, and then at the end of it, if you have the right type of combination, you could hold it in your hand and carefully pull off your glove. And now you've got a nasty thing on the space station, but we would wrap it inside 2 or 3 layers of containment, bags that close, zip up, until we're sure that it's not going to leak out. And then, finally, we're safe, and we can take off our gloves and our goggles and our mask and carry on with the business of being astronauts. Good question. Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Lock your Soyuz hatch and put your helmet on.
It's obviously all put on for show, and there's been lots of evidence to state that you use CGI and abuse the
so you
where you do low gravity effects. There's ways that they can do that stuff, but people should be a little bit more aware with knowing about CGI and movies and all.
And that's the problem. People don't understand even what CGI is. I have to explain to them.
I think the one thing that causes people to run away from questioning science and NASA and all that kind of stuff is it just seems so far-fetched to believe.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Now, I understand the evidence for trying to state that it is flat on this, but...
Because this would be NASA and all the governments in the world, they'd all have to be in on it, and you're right, it's far too... yeah, it's too much, isn't it?
But a lot of people are put off investigating it because the thought of the Earth being too flat is too ridiculous. Now, I actually think the Earth is a globe still. I just think our perception of the... Because we've got no actual pictures of its size from a distance out. Nobody really knows exactly how big it is either yet. So I think the Earth is possibly quite bigger than it actually is. And that might explain.
I thought that.
On the horizon, though.
Yeah. That was one of my theories. Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah. I went down that because, as I say, I didn't just jump in this one day and just go, oh, I'm a flat earther. I mean, like, I think it was about 4 months of 18-hour days trying to debunk the whole stupid thing. You know, like on that, when you go to there. You know, like, it will take you to a website of some video YouTube channels and that. You know, like, just click on 200 proofs. Start there. Oh, it's so open your mind.
That could be a possibility, though.
Yes, I did. I don't agree with it now. I've got more reasons why I don't believe that now. But I'll let you discover them yourself. You know.
Because obviously, then some people could argue, okay, well, if it was this amount bigger, then you would still not be able to see
curvature and stuff like that. And
but I don't know those parts onto that level. All I know is that obviously, being an artist as well, we're perspective.
We all go on the information that we've got at the time. You know.
If you've got a globe that's possibly bigger than we were actually told it is, then the vanishing point on the horizon for certain things possibly won't, you know, obviously.
You know what? That would probably make sense because we're talking about the horizon being at eye level all the time. And you're quite right. I mean, like, whether it be on a flat plane or Earth was as big as Jupiter, you know, like, that's right, then it might still horizon. But at some point when you get higher and higher, the ball has to fall away from you at some point as you get higher, and that might be 120,000 feet or something. But when we send these amateur balloons up, it's flat. It's still at eye level.
Unfortunately, they're not, even though they go very high up, they don't go high enough up, because we don't realise how, like you've got in the leaflet, just how high our atmosphere really goes up anyway. But, and we can't really get certain vehicles high enough up that depend on aerodynamics. So
I think it's like the U2 aeroplanes and all that. But if you see on them planes, they show this massive curvature on them planes.
Oh yeah.
They're all using bloody fisheye lenses and. But again, people don't understand what that is.
But that's the part with with the sending it. I'm aware of the air balloons that go up. And the Earth is flat from that distance. It will be because of the size. And we're literally not even a fraction off the ground still. So, if we could get them to go higher, but that wouldn't be feasible.
When I say air balloons, I'm on about the weather balloons. They go up to 150,000 feet.
Yeah, you know those rocket balloons.
Yeah. We kind of believe most of them, and that's what our satellites are, most of them.
I think so. I actually think, because and you've probably seen it on YouTube, there is a guy who's covered that part where the looks into it, and certain satellites have been taken up on you know, balloons, and they're just floating there.
That's right. They just had a major accident not so long ago, where the balloon they were sending one up and they lost the ropes and all that, and it come crashing through cars and buildings and people getting hurt and all sorts and that. You know, there's a thing called Google Project Loon.
I'll check that one out, but that is quite shocking. You can find a satellite wreckage.
Oh yeah, it was all there. They were showing you the whole caboodle, the whole satellite, everything.
How do we build a satellite that will not end up as dangerous debris? Because space is only an imaginary social construct, most satellite data is either ground-based or transmitted via skywave propagation reflected off of the celestial dome. Nevertheless, aerial-based communications and other data transfer are often necessary. Accordingly, the ESA has taken steps to ensure the safety of all aerial satellites. Failure to abide by ESA safety satellite protocols may lead to extensive property damage, or worse, potential catastrophic injury to bystanders. Proper safety methodology for aerial satellite insertion is paramount for the continued success of ESA and NASA and their joint mission to maintain humanity's orchestrated space construct. Satellite safety protocols. 1. Wind speeds less than 10 miles per hour. 2. Effective crane management. 3. Minimal spectators and bystanders. 4. Ground-based communications and celestial dome propagation if possible.
All they can say is, oh, it's just a satellite that was on a balloon, but then people start...
What, why?
How many of these satellites are really dangling there on balloons?
Yeah.
And obviously we get our internet, people think that we're beaming our cell phones off to space.
That's right, and you know where they come from. Just cell towers, that's all.
I want to get 5G and don't really want to make it more grid-like.
I'm a little bit worried about 5G.
I'm worried about that. I think the cables, everything that... I was shocked when I found out that when I'm playing people on the games across in the States, for instance, across the globe, we've actually got cables that run that distance. I mean, that is... Except we haven't got cables... that go... I'll show you on here. We do not have cables and stuff that go from Santiago to Australia and that. You know, the submarine cables and all that, that's meant that, and even aeroplanes, they still send these underground cables all the way up to like India and back down again. Yeah. Why don't they just go across? It's a good question.
Sorry, I was talking about that one, Santiago.
Well, maybe it was for whatever economic reason or whatever.
Well, they have to
islands to try and join it on or link.
They have to do more cable and more. And the thing is as well.
Because I think the distance from that gap, again, to do with the size of the Earth, is much greater. The shape and organisation of the continents on quite a little bit different to what we've been shown there, perhaps. Yeah. That's my only explanation again. Try to look at the flat Earth angle from, especially I look into the Torah and the Bible and what it says about God's perspective on the Earth. Yeah? It says it's a circle now. People can interpret that as a flat disc or it's a circle globe. Yeah? Now, I think that the reason why it's more likely to be a globe shape, is it just logically makes more sense and I've looked at all the evidence of the Earth spinning and things could be flying up. The thing is so huge that even though it appears to be spinning fast, it's really moving very slowly.
It does, but
in comparison, but I'm not going to get carried away on the subjects of gravity. We'll get to the point. The part that I try to weigh out is the sun circling the Earth.
Yeah.
And obviously, being an artist, you would be able to see the sun getting smaller.
And you do. If you go on YouTube, you can see there's a guy's channel called Fuck it word, but with PH, fuck it word.
Yeah.
Okay? Go on his YouTube channel and he shows you the sun, what's it, in the sky at one size, and he's put two parallel lines on the screen, and as it goes away in the distance, and it's so that you think it's setting, it's not, the sun is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and you can see it in these lines get smaller, and then out of perspective.
I might have seen, I think I might have seen that one. Yeah.
But the thing is, why would a 93 million mile sun ever go? It would never shrink. Why would it?
Because of how light works again. Because when you're looking at the curvature of the Earth and the way that the light enters the horizon when it's sunrise, when it's setting, it will, I think, alter the shape and the size of the sun.
Be careful what you've been taught. Be very careful.
I'm going off what I think is mostly
observation and reality. What you
can appear, how to put it, different depending on light effects, depending on clouding effects, and all sorts. But particularly, I think if the Earth's turning, you might get that kind of illusion. But the other thing is, we need more of these airplanes to go up and be able to view things if it's a flat plane and zoom in and see where the sun is going.
You're quite right. I mean,
if we can get that through, I would say.
Well, lots. I mean, when NASA, when we get these pictures from NASA and government bodies and all that, you know, like we kind of see that there's massive curvature everywhere. But when we got universities and and schools and amateur balloons going up, that's what you see.
I've just missed the call of someone.
Are you shooting?
Yeah.
No, it's nice speaking to you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
All right then. Cheers, buddy. Did you get that? Did you?
Go on.
You got that one. I wasn't sure whether you did. Oh, I'll get out your way. Have you come across this before? Have you come across it before? There you go. Grab that one as well. It's got a website for you to check out.
No worries, we'll check it out.
You know, just don't believe a word of any of this. Go home when you get on the internet and check that out. Do you know what debunk means?
Yeah.
Debunk it. It's all nonsense. Debunk it. But you'll struggle. All right. Bye bye.
Some of them, bro.
I think that's all we got now. I think they've all gone. Well, that was about. I think I brought about 1,000 of them.
Wow.
You know. Do you want them ones?
Yeah, well,
you know.
them out, me. I'm
yeah.
really into it at the moment.
I only want a couple left.
Yeah, sweet as. Thank you very much.
All right. Oh, don't forget, you got that. Did you get any cards? Did you?
Yeah, I've got some still.
You got them ones and that, yeah. Good. Oh, you want some of them?
Yeah, thank you. Cheers, man.
All right.
Cheers.
You still here?
Unfortunately, she sent me I've got no bloody penny.
All right.
She sent me a message saying she's on her way, so I thought she was stuck over there waiting.
Right.
And I noticed a missed call 3-4 minutes ago.
All right, okay.
You on the phone?
No buzzer on your phone, no?
It has, but I thought the vibrate was on and it's actually...
All right.
But it is interesting. Thank you so much. I mean,
guys, I'm going. Sorry.
All right. Sorry. Cheers, buddy.
Have a good day, all right?
And you too. Cheers, buddy.
Yes, you know, obviously, I want to say 200 proofs because I looked at one of the documentary videos on it, yeah, and at some points are obviously debatable or argumentative.
Yes.
But there's certainly things on there, the fact that satellites will not cope with that kind of radiation
yeah.
and so forth, and again I think that ties back into why we haven't got any pictures of Earth.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think any of the...
Or even when they went to Apollo, you know, like, why didn't they do this when they were filming? I mean, like, these are astronauts that their entire dreams are about going to space. It's the thing that they've worked their entire lives to do, and all that training that. And a mountaineer, can you imagine when he got to the top of Mount Everest, that he just stood up there and just went, can you imagine that?
Well, at the end of the day, you have to watch the astronauts, their responses, their body language.
Oh yeah. Did you see the three of them when they were old enough? It's like you're seeing pictures of them going away and they're all happy and all that, and when they come back, you thought someone just killed their mothers.
No, that was the blatant.
We don't have time for a meeting of the flat earth.